Hey crocheters, I wanted to say thank you so much for your enthusiastic and supportive and loving response to my last video where I said I'm gonna try something new and different and I'm gonna illustrate a kid's book about crocheting. You guys are the best. You're just the best, and I appreciate it so much. So today I'm going to show you guys some behind the scenes of like how I move my projects from like those rough sketches I showed you last week to Mylar and then making line drawings, and then we're going to do a little bit of coloring. So this is my makeshift light table setup. So what I have here is I just have a big picture frame that I removed the picture. I just have the glass, and then I have my Mylar in the background and a fresh white piece of paper on top of it, and so I've got them hooked together so that it won't move. And then because that door that you guys can kind of see in that corner, a lot of light comes through there, and so I hold the frame in such a way that it's backlit and you guys can see the Mylar and the graphite behind, and I'm using the white copy paper and the micron pen to make a line drawing. As I said last week, it's kind of like a coloring page. But this is just how I start, and so I'm going to trace everything here. I do a little bit of extra refining in this stage, even a little bit. Sometimes I shift lines a little bit, like kind of make micro adjustments, and then when it's all traced, I am ready to go to coloring. So now that I've done all of those line drawings, I just did, I think, 3 or 4. So now what I'm going to do, it's a nice day here, so I'm going to take the line drawings, I'm going to go sit outside, and I'm going to use my chart pack and my Prismacolor markers, and I'm going to start coloring them in. I'm going to sit outside because chart pack and Prismacolor are rendering markers, and so they have a lot of alcohol, and it's way smelly, and I don't want to subject my family to that. I did one the other day, and it's not completely done, but this is the first one that I did, and I did it inside because it was a really cold day, and it smelled awful. So going outside, gonna color these, hopefully make some really good progress. All right, so I am outside, and I've been working on my line drawings for a little bit now, and none of these are completely done. I needed to kind of get like the big portions done so that I can get the most like stinky marker coloring done as possible. So I've got these 3 that I've been working on so far, and they still need like a decent amount of attention to detail added, and you know, a couple more colors and things like that, but overall I'm pretty happy with them. It's been lovely out here, but it just started to get cold, and so I want to work on this one here really quick before I have to kind of call it a night. So thought I would bring you guys along on this little adventure. So here I'm doing, so I've got my chart pack and my Prisma markers, and the chart packs I'm going to use for like the big broad areas for the most part, because they are much more fluid marker. That also means they bleed a lot. So if I have like definite lines, I've got to go back through and clean that up in Photoshop later, because they almost always are going to blur a little bit and kind of color outside the lines. The Prismacolors are less blurry, but they also work really well. So I didn't end up being able to show you guys the entire making of this picture. My husband, you guys saw his feet kind of come up. He actually brought me some food. He's so sweet. So I ate dinner out there on the lawn, which was fun, until the neighborhood cat came by and was like, "I'm gonna eat your food." I didn't let it, but it made it difficult. Anyway, so this is how that picture ended up for now. So I think the big thing is like I added some blue sky in the background, and I colored the leaves, and I added a little bit more like shade and shadow to things. And so at this stage, this needs to still be photoshopped. So if we come in here, you guys can see like especially on Santa's hand here. This, by the way, this is his casual outfit. This is his joining the real world somewhat incognito outfit. Jeans and a vest and white. Anyway, I think it's kind of cute, but still like obviously Santa. So anyway, so the colors bleed. Let me see if it'll focus. Focus. Yeah, so the colors bleed, and so I've got to go back through and Photoshop them. And then also like I put my wind coming 2 different directions, because originally I wanted it blowing this way against his back, and then I realized like for story purposes it makes sense for the wind to be coming this way. And so I've got some line winds, some lines to represent the wind, if that makes any sense, coming this way, but then I have these ones that are coming this way. So in Photoshop I'm gonna have to just like rotate those a little bit so that it has a consistent look to it. So that's where we are. So on Tuesday, earlier this week, goodness gracious, I told you guys that I had like 4 spots where like I didn't even have a picture, like even roughed out. And so I finally got those taken care of. Oh. It's nice because there's kind of a lot going on with it. And one of the big things was, of course, it's a crochet story. I have to have a crochet something to go with it. And, as like an important element in the story. And so I'm going to try and do this without like spoiling it. I'm the worst at spoiling things. Like I even like stories or like movies or books spoiled for me. And sometimes like people are like, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Like I'll read the last chapter of the book first, because I just want to know what's going on when I go into it. I know I'm weird. Like most people really aren't like that. So I'm going to try and not spoil this for you guys. How the story ends. But basically we have a yarn creation that saves the day, right? And so my first idea, and this one was not very, I'm still working on it, but like I finally kind of have an idea where I'm going. The first idea was to make a scrap bin monster. And so this was the very first thing I made. It's one-eyed, it's got like triple bobbles and bobbles, and this is literally from my like scrap bin. Knot them all together and like have these little knot pieces sticking out and have it be like a monster. And I finished this and I was like, wow, I hate that. It's so ugly. I don't, if I could make a cute monster, like, yeah, it could save the day, but I apparently can't. And like this was one, like I'd done a lot of sketches and like trying to figure out like what would make a cute monster. And this is the one that I was like, oh, maybe that would work. No, not cute. And I like things to be cute. Anyway, so this is what I have resolved upon doing, and this is my first draft. So it is still a little rough. There will be some changes, but I've decided the animal pattern crochet thing to save the day will instead be a scrap bin hedgehog. So also made from bits of yarn in my scrap bin. I've got all of the knots in the pattern that I've written it. There's KO stands for knots out, so you can see it, and then KI stands for knots in, so you hide the knots, so you have that difference in the texture between, here are like the spines on the hedgehog, and then this is like the softer fur area, and of course we've got bobbles for the feet. Anyway, I might have to try them in a slightly less high contrast colorway, because it is a little hard to see. The notes notes I'm making for myself that I want to change for my scrap bin hedgehog. It needs at least one highlight in the eye, in each eye. I think it just looks a little bit, it doesn't have that like life and spark without at least one highlight. Because it is smaller, I thought like, nah, we won't. Because almost all of my animals, I've got one sitting right here so I can show you, almost all of my animals have two highlights in the eye. And these eyes are so small I didn't think it could handle two highlights, but I think it definitely needs at least one. And then the other thing I'm thinking of is that I'll add another row between the legs, because I feel like the head is maybe a little bit big in proportion to the body. Like maybe I just need to give it one more row in body length. And then maybe my next one I'll make in like less high contrast. That way you can see the face better. And maybe I'll even make it in neutrals, because I've got plenty of neutrals in my scrap bin as well. Little odds and ends from things. So yeah, so that's how things are going. I still have quite a lot to do on the making of this story, but I am enjoying it. It has a lot of people, you know, a lot of elves, a lot of crocheters, and people are a little bit challenging for me, just because I'm not that good at, like, I could use the practice, shall we say. So that's kind of the challenge. But anyway, I'm excited. Thank you once again for all of your enthusiasm around this. Hopefully next week I'll have another scrap bin hedgehog to show you guys. It might be a little bit more refined, and some more pictures, and maybe a little bit more of the story.